ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Yo YouTube, what's up? I'm Tim, he's AC, and Justin, who is now an official member of our channel. He's also over at Sports News Insider. He's been helping us out a lot. This is a Thursday night football preview. We're going to do this weekly. On Saturday nights, us three will be previewing the Sunday games and the Monday night game. And remember, on Monday, after all the Sunday games have happened, we will also be having the NFL Final Score. We've been promoting this a lot. We did it a few weeks last week, got a lot of views, and then I stopped doing it. We're going to do this throughout the season, break down all the games, how they went down, and basically any huge stories that have come up. We'll do at least one episode of it because of the 15-minute limit we have. We might do more depending on how in-depth we get in on these topics. Now, week one, the biggest game probably is a matchup of the Thursday night game, and that is the Green Bay Packers versus the New Orleans Saints. Breeze versus Rodgers. The first game of this season will be the last two Super Bowl champions, both coming out of the NFC. So we're going to break down how we think this game is going to go. And AC, what do you think about this game?
Man, it's defending champions versus defending champions of the previous year. The past two Super Bowl winners has got to be a great game. Definitely one that you should seriously sit down and watch on a good Thursday night. I mean, you're looking at a team in the Packers who has just plain old shutdown defense. Like they're that good. If they're not the best defense in the NFC, I don't know who is. So the Saints basically, I mean, their running game is going to be pretty good, but I don't see their passing getting by the Packers secondary. It's just that good. And then the Saints defense doesn't really stack up to the Packers defense, so I think defense is going to be very key in this game.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I mean, the Saints have a top-flight offense, so we'll see who wins in the matchup of the stacked defense versus the stacked offense there. As you said, though, there is kind of a hole in the fact that the Saints have they have an average defense compared to an offense for the Packers that's also one of the best in the NFL, which is, I mean, when you have one of the best defenses in the NFL and you have one of the best offenses in the NFL, well, your team's probably going to be pretty good.
Look at why they're defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah. And, I mean, getting back guys like Jermichael Finley, Ryan Grant, that should only help them in the end. Justin, what do you think about this game, man?
Alright, you're going to see the debut of Mark Ingram. I am really hyped up to see how well Mark Ingram does during the regular season. Some people are saying, oh, is this guy going to be the real thing in the NFL? I think he's going to be the real thing, but I don't think he's really going to break out against the Green Bay Packers because they have such a stellar defense. Clay Matthews is going to beast it up. He's going to put a lot of pressure down on Drew Brees, and I just don't really see Mark Ingram or the receivers for the New Orleans Saints really doing anything in this game. I mean, it's going to be a big problem because you guys all know that the Green Bay Packers have a great defensive backs, but I really think that the receivers are going to get shut down from the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I mean, for the Packers, you're talking about Charles Woodson, Tramon Williams, who really stepped up in the big stage last year, going against guys like Marquise Colston, Robert Meacham, and the list goes on. I mean, the thing for the Saints is not only now do they have Ingram who can catch out of the backfield, and so can Pierre Thomas, but they also have Pierre Thomas, who is a much better runner, I think, already than what Reggie Bush was. So I think he should provide something big for this team. Along with Pierre Thomas coming back, he had an injury-riddled season. He should be able to stay more healthy this season. I think if you look at it, as much as we like to hear about how the Packers have all these players coming back, the one thing to think about is, in his first game back, is Ryan Grant going to have a huge game? And he doesn't necessarily have to with a huge pass game, but let's say that the Packers passing game gets shut down by the Saints defense. I mean, it's possible. At that point, you're going to have to either look at James Starks, who I think kind of got lucky in the playoffs last year. He's his third or second back, but he's not what he was in the playoffs last year. Or Ryan Grant, who hasn't played since like week 3 last year. So in that case, if you set it up that way, you kind of look at this game with a different outlook and in a lot of ways think that maybe the advantage goes to the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, if Ryan Grant does come back and has a pretty decent game, yeah, I still don't know if the Saints defense is going to be able to stop a good rushing game in Ryan Grant, and then you got Aaron Rodgers going over the top to guys like Greg Jennings and James Jones. I'm not sure that the Saints are going to be able to stop that if both the Packers' rushing and passing game is on. And I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of there's a lot of ifs in this game because both teams are that good.
Yeah, I mean, and you talk about two of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right there. I'd rank Brees probably one slot ahead of Rodgers because of the type of passer he is. But when it's all said and done, you're probably going to say Rodgers had a better career because he's got probably a better team around him at this point. I don't know. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. Hopefully I can get the chance to sit down and watch it because there's a lot of matchups, like you said. Talking about one of the highest powered offenses in the NFL. And one thing I have heard a lot is people concerned about how many picks Drew Brees threw last year. I think that was just the off-season for Drew Brees last year. Yes, he threw 22 picks, but he also threw 33 touchdowns, which was right there with Manning and Brady and the more elite quarterbacks in the NFL, which I still think Drew Brees is. I think he's probably the 3rd best quarterback. So I think the X factor in this game is Pierre Thomas and Mark Ingram. What they can do out of the backfield for the Saints is going to be key because if it's just the passing game for the Saints, it's prolific, but maybe the Packers can slow it down enough that their offense can beat up on the Saints defense and you could see a score like 30-20 Packers, which is not what the Saints want to see. If Ingram can catch passes out of the backfield, make good runs, and Pierre Thomas can do the same, it opens up the field for guys like Meacham, Marquise Colson, and the amount of depth that the Saints have at wide receiver, there's going to be other guys stepping up for them. So that's really the biggest X factor. Justin, if one thing has to go right for a certain team to win in this game, what do you think it is?
Oh, it has to be their defense, man. I mean, like you and AC already broke it down straight up, but I just think it's going to be the defense on both sides.
Yeah, I mean that's especially in the Saints case. If the Saints defense can get a solid performance, I'm going advantage Saints. AC, what do you think?
Like you just said, if the Saints rushing game can complement, not take over the game so much as that they're rushing like 3 downs every series, but if they can complement that passing game that Drew Brees brings, the Saints are tough to beat. It's hard to pick against the Packers, but if the Saints can establish their rushing game and their defense can hold up against the Packers, it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really excited to see this game, and I am just excited to have the NFL back at this point. I think this is going to be as good a season as we've seen in a long time. Again, we're going to be here breaking down all these games, especially the Thursday night ones like this.
Dan, let me get in on one thing real quick. Sorry to cut you off there, man. I can really see that Drew Brees can be somewhat like Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. They're going to throw the ball deep. I think that you're going to see a lot of deep balls thrown by Drew Brees and possibly by Aaron Rodgers. I can possibly see that going down.
Yeah, that's for sure, and I think that right now it's going to be there's so many X factors in this game, and it's going to be who can go out there and execute. You got 2 of the top 5 head coaches in this game, too. Sean Payton, especially offensively, he's just a genius. And then Mike McCarthy, who handled the Brett Favre situation well. He handled everything that's been thrown at him, and he's taken a team that was 6-10 in Aaron Rodgers' first year to a team that won the Super Bowl, and I picked them to repeat in the Super Bowl this year. and that's not something I normally do in any sport. Is there anything else you guys want to get to before predictions?
I'm good, man.
Okay.
Same here.
Alright, we'll start with you, Justin. Prediction on this game and why?
Oh, jeez. You're putting me on the spot here. I think it's going to go down to the wire, like I said before. I think it's going to go into overtime. I think it's going to be a spectacular game. Both teams are going to play their hearts out in the first 4 quarters. And then, shockingly, well, not shockingly, I don't want to put it shockingly. I think that the Saints are going to come out on top by a 3-point, maybe 27-24. The reason being is I think that the Green Bay Packers defense is going to be a little bit tired out through the 4 quarters, and they're going to fall probably a little bit drastically when it comes to overtime. But if the Packers can come back and actually win this game, I'll be really surprised. But I'm going to give it to the New Orleans Saints in this one, 27-24.
Alright, that sounds like a good game. Hopefully it ends up like this. Normally when we draw it up on paper, one team ends up blowing it out the other team. I mean, last year the first game was Vikings and Saints. I believe the Saints handled the Vikings pretty easily, if I remember right. AC, what do you think, man?
It's gonna be a close one. There's no doubt in my mind that if both teams play up to their potential, this is gonna be an extremely close game. I'm gonna give a very, very slight edge to the Packers, just because of the fact that both of these teams, in my opinion, the offenses are pretty much equal. When you look at them and you really break it down, I think the offenses are almost equal, and then the defensive edge obviously goes to the Packers. So when I look at it that way, I gotta go with the Packers in this one. Gotta go with my gut feeling. 30-27 Pack.
I disagree. I think the Saints have a much better offense than the Packers. Well, not much better, but the Saints' offense has more weapons, I think, a better quarterback. Certainly running-wise, I'll take what the Saints have. The Packers have more depth at receiver, but the top receivers for the Saints fit well to what they're trying to do. Derry Henderson, there's another name for the Saints. I'm trying to think of an exact score because I keep thinking that Drew Brees is going to have a huge game in this, but then I remember, oh wait, he's playing the Packers defense. I'm going to go 30-24 Saints in this game. I think Drew Brees comes out, has a big night. I think Pierre Thomas has a big night, and the Saints come out on top on this first night. But again, I picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl, so I'm not really changing up from that pick. But, I mean, there's these type of hard games that you do lose during the course of a season. I mean, the Packers last year are a perfect example. At a certain point in the season, they were like 8-6. People thought they were done, basically. Then they won their last couple games, and they just got hot at the right time. And I think that could certainly happen again this year. But in the first game, I'm taking the New Orleans Saints. I'm Tim, he's Justin, he's AC. Subscribe to our channel. We'll keep the MLB coverage coming, NBA if the season gets going, anything else that happens, and of course, the NFL. We'll see you later.